Hey, Mander. Hello. Hi, Anne Marie. How you doing? Yeah, it's hard to believe I'm out here and I'm almost on time. Oh, it's crazy though. Mander's out. Mander's out here, and pretty much it's the group one. Salamander and Lucy and Lorelei and Cause and Peaches, Sugar and Jasmine. Hi, Elisabetta. Salamander, can you say hi? Can you say hi? No, you're not going to say hi. Why is that? Why is that? Yeah, I figured we better get out here today because if we hold a meeting tomorrow, it's going to be, it's definitely going to be inside. We're getting heat warnings now, so. All right, guys. Yep, it's already started. Oh, we actually had like 3 of those in the winter, so where it got up over 100 Fahrenheit. You know, you're talking 80, what? What are they predicting? They're predicting 36 for tomorrow centigrade, so that'd be around 38 here. It actually is hotter in this little basin than it is around the rest of this town. So we got Cause with us today. Let's see. Come here, Cause. Come here, baby. Come on. If you hear the screaming, that's Babalu. He's our best screamer. He's getting better about it, but we're doing okay. Lungnep. Lungnep. I hope I'm saying that right. Hello. Hi, Eleanor. Cause. Whoops. Let me adjust this camera a little bit. One of these days I need to oil the thing. Where are you going? Oh, you're not going to mess with Lorelei. You leave Lorelei alone. Yeah, it's a nice day, but tomorrow's supposed to be hot. Hot, 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 hot. Cause the only issue we'll have of aggression, I would see there, it's really likely today, is between Cause and Lorelei. Although Lorelei seems to be taking a spot away from that situation. Don't you, girl? Let me get the camera where you guys can see it. Oh, yeah, I'm really happy with the peach emoji. Let's see, reverse the camera. There we go. See, it's, as my father used to say, it's one disgustingly beautiful day after another in Southern California, but it actually isn't always that way. It's only 300 days of the year. The rest of the time, it's not quite this nice. And if you want to count heat, you could drop that to about 200 nice days because we get some heat that's a little hard for people to tolerate. Lorelei. Oh, yeah. I'm happy with that creation. But without Peach, it would be nothing. It's got to have that peach face in it. Peach, are you down? Somebody's been eating cashews. Oh, Salamander, you eating cashews? Peaches, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. Oh, won't let me do that. I'm going to do it this way. She's in her hiding spot. Hi, Peach. Hi, Peach. Hi, Peach. The Sugar's doing her usual. She's up there preening, so she spends the first hour or so outside preening, and then she starts running around and begging to have her beak petted. Hi, Lorelai. Hi. Hello, Lorelai. Hi. Hi. 33 years. Yeah, they can own you, that's for sure. There was a vet who said that umbrella cockatoos want to be sewn into your chest. How about you, Lorelai? Yeah, she's had some trouble recently. You can't, even though you keep them in separate cages, you can't stop them from wanting to mate. So, she became, um, she became bonded with Cecil, and then she started laying eggs one after the other. And as soon as one came in thin, she went and we did the $1,000 surgery, and now she can't lay eggs because if she lays them like that, she's eventually going to die. And a Deslorelin implant did nothing. We tried that first. I tried the Deslorelin implant. Nope. Still kept laying eggs. Hi, Taylor, Danielle, and hello, Susie Q. Hey. Hey, Arlie Wall. Hi, how are you doing? We have a cook on board. Yeah, cooking, that's only like about an hour and a half a day. These guys like their muffins, they like their mash. Thank you very much for joining up there, Arlie. A horsey stream? What kind of horse are you talking about? Salamander. Salamander? Yeah, so I was talking about Lorelei. And then of course I let them play together, and it's not much you can do once they like that. But it eventually worked. He did what the males tend to do, male cockatoos tend to do in captivity. He got made aggressive. They don't do this in the wild, but at least as far as we know, the research has been done. And so he started not treating her quite so well, and she'd get around him, then she'd run away from him, and now I just keep them separated. So, and she was getting some shabby feathers because he chewed that, she didn't. So those feathers are all come back. She's looking a lot better now, aren't you, Lorelai? And she's okay with it. Once she had issues with him, um, she was okay with being separated. They still talk back and forth. They're in cages that are close to each other, but I had this issue with Chloe, and Chloe never quite got over it. So I watched this one pretty close, and as soon as I started to see issues, I was able to pull them apart. And now she's still bonded with him, but she doesn't want to be around him. Not really. So it's too bad because in the wild they would just live together for forever. If I had Bob and Cecil out here, we could get some barking going on, but because they both of them were around dogs, so they bark really well. But I don't have any barkers out here. Lorelai says Lorelai and hi baby girl, don't you? And she says hello. And Kaz says hi cockatoo, hi cockatoo. And Lucy says, what do you say, Lucy? Pretty bird, pretty bird, pretty bird. And so far, the only thing I've heard Sugar say is hi. That's really cute. She says hi. Yeah, Salamander wants to be out with the girls. Let's see who else says what. Jasmine has a whole bunch of phrases, but I haven't learned them all yet. She only says them when like somebody new is around. The first time I heard her talk, other than the other bird sounds she makes, I had somebody walk up to the fence right over there, and she started like, "Hi, how are you?" And I'm, where in the world is that coming from? Peaches, to remember everything Peaches says. She says, hello, hello, hello. She says, I love you. Usually putting Peaches after everything. I love you too. Hi. She does say hi. I'm sure somebody else can jog my memory. And he doesn't actually, Mr. Salamander here doesn't have that kind of a vocabulary. But boy, he can make the jungle sounds. You think you're in one of those old Johnny Weissmuller movies. Of course, the most common bird you hear in those old Tarzan movies is actually a kookaburra, and there are no kookaburra in Africa. So that's an Australian bird. What, Peach? Yeah, she says, I love you. Come here, Peach. Yeah, she says, come here, Peach. Come here, Peach. Lorelei. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. I'll just chatter about the birds or pick a topic or something. But if you got any questions, feel free. Lorelei. Let's see, who else haven't I talked about? Sugar. Well, Cecil and hello, and he learned both of those from me. Babaloo has quite a few phrases. Most commonly, it's Babaloo or Bob. Now, that's Salamander begging for a preen, which is funny because he doesn't know how to preen himself, but he's always begging other people, I call them people, other birds to preen him. And Lorelei's Queen Preen, boy, she loves to preen everybody. Bob says, what you doing? He says, good morning. Bob is a good boy. Yep. Bob is a good bird. Bob is a good boy. Now you can hear him, and he's in there yelling right now because he wants to be out here. He thinks he does anyway. He does not like, he's not fond of cameras and people talking. So if he knows I'm online, he has a fit and tries to either eat me or the phone. There's the Lorelei. Oh, you're still chasing her, Sal? Sal's still chasing her. He just wants to be preened. But you're done preening for the day, huh? There he goes. Please preen me, preen me. It's like the plant in Little Shop of Horrors. Preen me, preen me. I love you too. And Pippa doesn't actually have a vocabulary. She swallowed lead when she was young, so yeah, he does. Feed me. Peaches. Peaches. And Romeo says, I love you. He says, love, 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 love. But you won't see him except when I take videos inside because he's a paranoid bird. It's because they trimmed his wings permanently. They damaged the follicles so that 4 of his primaries would not come in. He doesn't have a sense of balance. He's always leaning one way or another. And so for that reason, you won't see that. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button too, just so that maybe these birds will get a little more exposure, although they're going to get a little bit of sun, so that's quite a bit of exposure. Hi, Jazz. Looks like she's asleep, but she's preening. Yeah, Romeo is a sweet boy. Yeah, just getting him out of the cage and holding him is all you can really do. And if you get too far from his cage, he freaks out. But he lets me do his beak and his nails, and now, oh, he is mad at me right now, though. I mean, not like birds actually get mad, but he is unhappy because his favorite treat is sunflower seeds. Yes, I still sing to Mr. Romeo. His favorite treat is sunflower seeds, and unfortunately, that has to be taken out of his diet so I can use it to train him. So he's been looking in his bowl and looking at me and then crying, and offer sunflower seed bars. That's called protected contact. I'm not doing it for that reason, though. I'm just trying to get him to take a sunflower seed out of my hand where it's comfortable for him. It's more that way for him than it is for me because I'm not worried about being bitten. So, and he rarely does that anyway. But so far, in the last 2 days, he has not broken down. But he will eventually want those sunflower seeds. So. That is one of the important things to do if you're trying to train a bird is to find out what their favorite food is and use it as the training uh, reward, reinforcer. What, Peach? Yeah, well, if they don't speak English, that's one thing, but their feather position is just a whole language in itself. Oops, get that camera aimed right. Their feather position tells you a whole bunch. Blueberries. Well, that's Peaches. She's a regular blueberry girl. And this one, Jasmine, you will see her in the morning. She'll go over and grab one of the blueberries that I put in her cage, and she'll be holding it, just slowly draining the juice out of it, kind of like a spider with a fly. Yeah, those things fly directly overhead all day long, so we're near a military base. Yeah, blueberries, that's Peaches. If she didn't have her blueberries, I don't know what I'd do. And I get that stuff from Costco, so, warehouse stores, so once in a while they don't have them and I have to order something else. So what I'll do is I'll order a mix that has that. Yeah, Arlie, that's blueberries are a definite treat around here. The other birds don't show much signs of eating them, but you do see them disappear out of their bowls, so they do eat them at some point. They just don't show me when they do it. What are you doing up there? You mean that one right there, the peachy one? Peachy girl. Hi, Kitty. How you doing, Kitty Vaughn? You know, it's probably the most common name for a Saram cockatoo. You know, you go to the vet and they ask you what name. You know, originally when I asked, they asked me what name she had, and I said Peach, and they go, "Oh, that's uncommon." You know, a little bit of sarcasm in the voice, but she's definitely a different girl with those six fused vertebrae in her neck. She can't move her head very much, so she moves it just a little bit. Eleanor is going to catch me for using the word very. I'm not fond of it, and it comes out of my mouth because I hear it so much. Peaches doesn't say that word, does she? No. No, she doesn't. Lorelai. Lorelai. Hi, Cause. Are you trying to protect my shoulder from Lorelai? Lorelai's not going to bother me. No, she's not. Gesundheit. Couldn't be a Tolkien name, could it? One of the Brandy Bucks. Hey, you. Yeah, and it seems to be his mission to show everybody that males can be just as affectionate as the females. Yeah, when I was getting out of the Navy years ago. We're talking 1974. So, hi, Becky Bean. Hi, Lois. Yeah. Well, now salamander, one of the vets was saying, well, that's a silly name for a bird. And I said, well, obviously you haven't read extensively because actually the name salamander comes from the Golden Pot, der Goldene Topf by E.T.A. Hoffman. And that means he's in love with the fire lily. And he lives in a different dimension, don't you, boy? When you have a twisted pelvis that's twisted to 90 degrees on the right side, you have to live in a different dimension, don't you? It does suit him. Yeah, it does suit him. Because he kind of sits around and waits, and just darts at things when he wants something, which for the most part is being preened. Yeah, it does happen. And I think that last video I did about, yeah, I still didn't get much sleep last night, so I'm trying to think. The last video I did with the two birds that had that rare condition where they couldn't flap their wings. Yeah, and that's most of that kind of genetic problem is from inbreeding. The worst thing you can do though is hybrid these guys, and they ought to go put these people in jail for that because they're not. I mean, they're not sane when you do that. I met one that was an accidental. And when I mean accidental, it was back with the Lily Sanctuary. They had Hugo, and what happened was they had a male Saram and a female Utu, and they were playing around together, and they didn't realize that they were mating. So they weren't in the same cage, but they were. finding a place to mate in the aviary. So when he was hatched, he was just, you never knew what he was going to do. He was off on another planet. Hello, Christy Jennings and Spirit Matter. Spirit Matter is back. Hi. Yeah, the hybrids are really a problem. I mean, personally, I'm devastated by the people that do that. Well, to my eyes, the feather dust looks white, but then again, when their feathers come off, most of the feathers, except the ones from the head, they look white. You really can't see any pink in them, unless you're gonna go under a black light or something. So our eyes aren't very good with color. I said very again. Our eyes aren't good with color like theirs are. Um, as I was mentioning yesterday, hi Spirit Matter. As I was mentioning yesterday, with Alex, Dr. Pepperberg, she had to actually paint everything the exact same color. Otherwise, he would not respond correctly because it wasn't the same color to him, or it looked the same to us. So, yeah, yeah, the pandemic, Lois, that's kind of what did it. So, yeah, it does look white. I can't see any pink in there, but that's human eyes. Yeah, I'm getting ready. I've got a stack of carbon filters. I have to go outside, put a mask on, and spend about an hour blowing out carbon filters and HEPA filters with a leaf blower. So, yeah, they see into the ultraviolet and the fluorescent. So, well, keeping them in captivity would still be a form of extinction because they really aren't birds. It would be like taking a human fetus out of a mother's womb, raising it in an incubator, and then letting another species like chimpanzees raise it. Yes, they do. Yeah, with a drop of oil on it, so they can look at the sun and it doesn't hurt their eyes. That's bizarre, but um, we have to protect them in the wild. The best ones doing that are still the Indonesian Parrot Project. As far as protecting cockatoos, they don't just protect cockatoos though, but they're stopping the illegal trade in Indonesia. That was Dr. Metz who set that up. Yeah, they can see into the UV. Well, I had somebody was telling me that, well, my bird didn't, doesn't have this feather picking problem because, it was a wild caught. It wasn't raised in captivity. And I had to explain that most wild caught are caught by having, what they do is they chop the tree down and then take the babies. So not only do they take the babies, they also get rid of their nesting spots. And all that for like $25 or roughly American per bird. It's pretty horrific. Thank you, Christy. That's good. Yeah, I'm dyslexic, so I was saying Kirsty. That's you'll know why because I'm dyslexic. So, uh, well, usually what we come across is the four outer primaries are the ones that they clip. But I have seen people who have clipped both the secondaries and the primaries, and that's horrible. You end up with a bird like Romeo. He is so scared. He's just scared to be alive. And he likes attention, and he likes to come out and be held, and he gets a little overstimulated every time he comes out. But twice a day is what he gets, and he only gets about a half hour out a day, and he doesn't want any more, honestly. I'm going to break him of it, though. I'm determined now to use every tool. So, goodbye, sunflower seeds. Huh. Yeah, I personally don't believe in wing clipping, and there's a bunch of good reasons for it, but students, there's a student, I have to find it. I've got it somewhere. there's a group of students who are biology students who wrote up a paper on why you don't want to clip your birds. Now I know they can fly out the door, right? But there's people down in La Jolla that have flight trained their birds, and they come back. I mean, dogs come back, birds will come back. They're smart. Birds are much smarter than dogs, so they go. If you train them, they'll come back. But by spirit matter, we'll keep some dust for you. Hi, Bosnia Goldgrove. So I don't like well, just this one thing alone. If you're just going to think of yourself, if you have a fight or flight reaction, and you take away their ability to fly, you're only left with fight. But the other thing, it's comparable to taking a dog and hobbling their feet so they can't run, so they can't get away from you. The biggest problem with flight training, though, is you can start the basics, but you need like a long aviary. There are some places I don't remember where they are, but there are some places in the United States that do flight training. One of them's up in Washington State. I think the other one's in Arizona, but they have the long flight cages. So you start out with short distances and you work to a long distance. Lorelei's flight, she's recall trained. I can get her to fly across the room. Now, she doesn't always do it. If there's something she doesn't want to be near, she's not going to fly to me. She's not an idiot. So yeah, there are some surgical reasons for sure. There are times when a bird needs to be clipped for its own personal safety. Uh, and Lorelei, when she went in for her surgery, they did that because they didn't want her flying around. She grew them back pretty quickly, though. She pulled out the ones that were clipped, because that's an hour-long surgery. Actually, 45 minutes and 15 minutes prepping, which setting up they got to put them on a general anesthetic, and you've got to have an anesthesiologist next to them just to do a neutering. So yeah, you're right about that, Arlie. It's I try, but I still, when things go wrong, I tend to blame myself, and I think about things that I've done wrong in the past. So yeah, fully flighted is more fun, isn't it? Yeah, and if they can get them introduced into the wild, each bird's a little different. I mean, what's the matter, Peach? Hey, Peaches, what are you crying about? You okay? Must have been a bug. Yeah, I agree, Lois. It's unnatural. I mean, you take an animal that we appreciate for its ability to fly, and then we clip them. It just doesn't make any sense. And I always have to say that at the vets. So, bye, Basia. Nice having you stop by. Right, Jazz Bird? Yeah, you go to the vet and they'll say, well, do you need the nails done? And if I'm there and they're not charging any extra and I've done something else, I'll let them do the nails. I have to do them what I do is I try to do one bird a day. And if that doesn't work, for some reason I get too busy, then I'll take usually a Sunday and do all of them. It doesn't take very long. Correction, it doesn't take long. Right, Lorelei? She's got the most sensitive nails you've ever seen in your life. I mean, you clip off a millimeter and she's Thank you, Arlie. Well, thanks for supporting us, and see you later. Say bye, Lorelei. Actually, the only one I have that says bye is Bob. He says goodbye. Bye. Bye. Yeah, I don't really see any reason to clip unless there's a medical reason. And then there's those that want to clip them because they're afraid of being bitten. Well, if you're going to be afraid of being bitten, and you probably shouldn't have these guys. No, actually, I didn't. I was pretty ignorant at that time. Laura, with I'll tell you what I was thinking. I'd only had Chloe for about 6 months, and I was, studying, but I was just at the beginning of my studies because there's a lot to learn. And she kept making nests, and this is kind of like Mark Bittner in the Parrots at Telegraph Hill when he didn't realize that the birds were feeding their babies. He thought it was some strange ritual between two different species because they don't look the same. But anyway, so I thought, well, if she's making nests, maybe I should get her a baby. So that's where Lorelei came from. But she has feather destructive behavior, and it happened as soon as she became an adult. What? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Want me to pet you? You don't want me to stick the phone in your face, right? Yeah, you don't like that. What do you want? Well, what do you want? Well, it's easier to pet you if I put this over here and then reverse it. This thing just is old. Sugar bird. Oh, thank you, Eleanor. Thank you so much. Yeah, Eleanor gave you something. Yeah, she did. Yeah, yes, she did. It's a sugar bird. Let's see if I can get that angle better. I really do need to. There we go. That looks all right. Sugar. Let's get my head away. What's going on here? See if that's better. There we go. Sugar bird. Sugar the bird. Yeah, this one sure took a lot of work, didn't you? Yeah, we had to work a long time together, didn't we? Till you got to be happy. She is proof that Elizabethan collars are not a good thing. She hated them. Oh, yeah, well, we all start somewhere, don't we? It's just like the picture of a bird in a cage, um, Gina. I saw when I was taking Dr. Friedman's Learning and Living with Animals, um, which is a strange name for a class that's all about how to train parrots. But she showed us a video, and in the video, it was done by a veterinarian. But in the video, you see this beautiful outside area, an aviary with birds in it. And you go inside, and there's paintings in the kitchen. You can see paintings of birds in tropical forest. And you go in the living room, and there's a cage. And inside the cage is a poodle. So, I mean, it struck me right away when I saw that. I was like, yeah, birds don't belong in cages. But of course, for their safety, they have to be in captivity. So we want to keep them in the wild if we can. Which, with the way the world is and the way humans are, you never know. But we have to do everything we can to try to help these guys in the wild. And the ones that are here, we need to help them. They'll be around for a long time. If anybody wants a bird and knows what they're doing, there'll be plenty of them. It's the knows what they're doing that's the hard part, right? Because I was about as ignorant as you can get. I was just starting to learn when I got Chloe, so. And I took her because they were, well, we don't know what we're going to do. We tried to take her back to the place called Free Flight, not too far from here. And they wouldn't take her. They said she doesn't do good with other birds, which she actually did fine with other birds. So I think it was because she was a plucker. They didn't want to have her there because they didn't have any birds that weren't plucked, that were plucked in their flock that you could see. That didn't mean they didn't have them, because the guy who used to own it, he's gone now. The guy who used to own it, his wife has it now, and his widow, I should say. She turned it to a nonprofit. But if you took a bird there and gave them money to bring it in, and it had feather destructive behavior, it was never on display out in the aviary. So, but they are now. I've never been down there, but I heard they are. Yeah, yeah, they are. Susie Q. Was it Yuval Noah Harari in his book *Sapiens*? He said that how arrogant of us to use that name for ourselves as if we're the wise ones. You know, where big brains doesn't necessarily mean wise, does it? Well, I know you have a big brain. I know you have a big brain because I can feel that. It's a huge head you got there. Yeah, you do. Pet the beak, pet the beak, pet the beak. Yeah, I've got Cecil. Cecil won't fly. Um, okay, see if I can move this back down. Get the cause in the picture there. I'm still petting this one a little bit longer. I don't want to give her too much petting. Too little, she gets upset. Too much, she gets excited. So between the two, I have to walk a fine line. Right, girl? Are you done yet? No, not done yet. You silly thing. You silly thing. That's a cause, girl. Hey, cause. Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Hi, cockatoo. Can you get your eyes a little wider? Hi, cockatoo. What are you doing? Lucy loves that spot, boy. She'll fight for it. I don't think. I don't think that Lorelei has a spot. Hi, Karen. Yeah, chickens are pretty amazing. It was originally a Chinese bird, and then they bred it for laying eggs and eating it. But I don't eat birds. But kind of hard to eat things that you love, isn't it? What? What's that look for? Broken budgie. Now, if you make bird sounds, they can get strange reactions from them sometimes. Yeah, that look. What in the world are you doing? Oh, I got her ear. Get their ears and they yawn. Yeah. Mander. Mander. Yep, budgies are great. Well, thank you. I can't tell I'm new at doing this. I'm a computer geek, but I'm new at doing this. I don't know who just donated some on Super Chat, but thank you very much. I don't see the name. It just gives me an amount. I don't do this on a computer. It would be a little difficult to get a computer out here. I'm thinking about taking her iPad out, but I'm not sure she will let me. I think there are a couple of people in here who can tell you how she reacts when I use her iPad. Now, there's that one video I saw. There's a budgie that has a 300 word vocabulary. And I mean, they had him say it like 50 words on the screen. So, yeah, her and her French fries. Lorelai, what are you doing down there? Hey, baby, you want up? All right, leave her alone, cause come over if she wants. Cause don't go after Lorelai. That's not nice. Cause I said this would be the two that would. You leave her alone. You don't go after Lorelai. Lorelai, you okay? Just don't want to take a chance, honey. Yeah. Oh, that's cool. That sounds like a nice environment. I wish they could be out in something like this all the time, but of course you have all the other dangers. You know, the potential for snakes and hawks that could come across, especially the Cooper's hawks. We do have a nesting pair of those. So, so it's kind of dangerous. That's something someone had said years ago on Facebook. They were saying, "Well, why don't you just leave them outside all the time?" Well, first of all, they don't all get along that well. It's not like it's a flock. I mean, they're sort of a ragtag flock, but and then what if there's a fire and the smoke kills them? What if a snake gets in? What if they get attacked by bees or something? Because we do have a hive not too far from here. So, and what was there? I haven't had too many negative comments, but one guy was saying on YouTube, comments like, "Well, round cages aren't good. Why do you have Cecil in a round cage?" Well, his night cage is round, and it doesn't bother him. I mean, with a lot of birds, a round cage would because predators can come from any side, but Cecil doesn't see the world that way. I can tell. But the other side is, it's the only other cage I have that has bead welds. If you've got anything that has a tack weld, there's no way that tack weld is going to hold. He'll have that thing apart. I put him in Bob's cage one time, which is one of the big ones from King's cages, and he had two of the strut bars off the top of the cage in less than 20 minutes. So he's in an old California cage, and it's been recoated, repowder coated, but he hasn't been able to get out of there. He did break one bead weld, which is amazing, but other than that, he hasn't been able to. So he's our biggest destructive bird. Well, Bob is the Bob and Slob Brine. You go around Bob's. I mean, it's got a vacuum around his cage all the time. I had to take some feeders, some of these plastic feeders where you can grow plants in them. Right? They're really just for planters. They're planters, not feeders. I had to put them at the base of his cage. I don't keep any of these. The guards you put. The seed guards. They don't work for me at all. So, and it makes it you need room. So I have those around his cage, and he's such a messy bird. Um, it seems to be his. What are you looking at me like that for? Oh, because Jasmine's over here. Hi, Jazz. Did you want down? Well, come on. There's a Jazz. There's a Jazz. Well, I got two on my lap. I better put this up here and switch that. Yeah, when you go to clean around Bob's cage, or clean his cage, it's just a disaster. And then he was at a place where they only took him out to clean his cage, so he would nip at them and fight the whole time to try to stay out of the cage, and so everybody was afraid of him. He still does the fight with me every time. I go to put paper in his cage, and he fights me all the way, tries to grab it through the bars and stop me. But that's part of his game, and he likes to do it, so of course we do it. If I could easily just take him out. He's not going to bite me or anything, so I could just take him out of there. You had to move, didn't you? Now I got to see if I can move this thing up a little bit. There you go. You're going to do it again, aren't you? Yes, you're going to do it again, aren't you? So it's always playing with him, you know. When you go to clean his cage, you have to play with him. It's a game. And when you put his food bowls to get him in his cage, you have to reach in. So I can't think of many people I know that would be able to tolerate the look he gives you when you reach into his cage, because he looks like a lion that's about ready to pounce, and the feathers on the back of his neck come up, and it looks like any minute he's just going to rip into you, and he doesn't. He just gives you that stare. But he's a good bird to train you to overcome any fear like that. So your feathers look better. I think the next set to come in on Jasmine are going to be the set that she's going to look. She's going to have normal feathers. These look pretty good on this side. This side still has some work to go. Is Bob still nesting? Yeah, he's still got the wiffle ball. I may have to take that out. But you'll hear the general wisdom is that you should take a wiffle ball or anything they're sitting on and using in a nesting manner and nesting season. You should take it out, but that's probably right in 9 out of 10 cases. But there's that one case where you need to leave it in, and I'm leaving it in with Bob right now. Excuse me. I am leaving it in with Bob, and that's mainly because he's so defensive of it, and he's not attacking. If he started to get cage territorial and nipping and stuff, I would take it out. But he's not doing that. Yeah, the thumbs up button. That's cool. Peach, where are you, Peach? Is she in her hiding spot? Yep. Peach doesn't know who you're hiding from. She just likes to be under there. At some point, I'll have all the birds out except for Rome. Once this mating season is over, oh boy. Hi, Helen. How you doing, kid? What? You want me to pet your beak again? Well, now you're going to turn away. Well, because I'm holding her. Well, I'm sorry, but she likes to get held. You don't like to be held. Well, you don't like to be held. Well, you don't. It would be fun to hold you, but I only get to do that when you're upset or you're not feeling well. What are you doing? Yeah, she's got her wings out. You don't like that, do you? Yeah, well. Oh, yes, yes. You were touted as such a vicious bird when you're up on somebody. You're so vicious. Yes, you are. She's looking pretty good. She's just got that one wing on this side that still has a little ways to go, but that's not quite perfect yet. But her feathers are coming back. Well, when this one came here, this Jasmine, she was really freaked out. She was not happy, and she was putting her she was climbing up on the hanging toys and trying to hang herself on the toys, getting caught in them. So I had to take all the ones with chains out and use leather instead. And then, no, you got it. Hi, Cause. You need a pet down there? But she was having a tough time of it for a couple of. Well, so was I because I had to give her medicine 3 times a day, or she'd start tearing into her chest. So, but she's on a normal dose now. What? Oh, I don't believe you. Well, I don't believe you. I don't believe you. I don't believe you. You want? Oh, don't believe it. That's the equivalent of wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. This one is a good snuggler too. She likes to snuggle. And it's not good to pet a bird, down the body, but you'll notice I do that sometimes now. With some birds, I do that because they're mated to me, so it doesn't make it's not going to make a big difference if I go down their back a little bit. But usually what I'm doing is if I touch them like this, I can get their feathers out and I can put my fingers under and see how their feathers are doing. I was checking to see what feathers still needed. She's got one on this side that needs to be opened up, and she hasn't opened it up, and I'm not sure why. But I'll leave it to her because she can reach it. But yeah, this is part of the veterinary thing I teach them is to be able to just get them to put out their feathers when you want to examine them. This is a targeting behavior. The one I haven't taught her yet is upside down, but that's coming. You just want to do that slowly. Although I didn't with Bob. The first time I flipped him over, I just took him and flipped him over. Or the one where when I was just getting him from the place where he was at, which was an animal hospital, and which mostly dealt with dogs and cats. The people were horrified. I just reached down, put my finger down there, and he would clamp onto my finger with his beak. You could hardly even feel it, but he'd just put his beak around my finger, and I'd pick him up and put him on my lap. And the people were like, "Oh, how can you do that? He's bitten so many people here. He's not going to bite me." So, yes, that's right. Petting under the neck, petting the beak too much now. with Sugar, she's made it to me because it took 2.5 years to get her to stop chewing herself. All because I was following the book. Now, it's good to follow the book. Hi, Eric. Nice to see you pop in. Ah, nice to have you stop by anyway. Cannot believe that it's an ENA cage, an ENA aviary. It's the largest one they make. Those are the people that everyone was complaining about when they came into business. They said there was lead in the powder coating. There may have been, but they've they turned around quickly if there was, because none's been detected. There's more lead in our water than there is than you're ever going to find in powder coating. But so these guys get reverse osmosis water, which is flavorless, but that's the way it goes. What? What do you want? You want your beak petted? What do you want? Well, what do you want? You nut. You are a nut. You know that? Let's see if I'm trying to move the camera a bit. There we go. Hi, Cause. You quit chasing Lorelei. Yeah, where did I get it? I bought it from Wayfair, of all places. I looked around and it was cheaper to buy it from them than it was to buy it from the manufacturer. It took 3 people 5 hours to put it together, though. So you need when you put it together, you really need to have like U joints on your drill, because it's hard to get in there to to uh, to take the screws and put them in, and they're hex heads too. So you need a hex. Fortunately, I had that, but still, holding up the panels and attaching them and lining up everything takes a while. But it's well worth it. By the way, this is not an outdoor cage. Um, they don't recommend putting it outside. So what you can see on the side, you can see that green thing over there. That's the tarp I pull over it. I have ropes attached to it, so I can throw the ropes over and pull the tarp over, and then I put the rope around it and seal it all up. And rarely even gets rainwater in here with the tarp thrown over it. Now, I recently changed it. You get these stepping stones. They're like 8x16 stepping stones. That's the best thing to lay down. Okay. So put some rock down. There's rock all around here. So let's put it on top of the rock. And you can put sand on the rock if you want. But just laying those stepping stones down is a much better way than what I did in the beginning. I built a wood frame. Don't do that. Weather will kill it, and eventually you'll have to replace it. You just buy these concrete 8x16 stepping stones and lay them down and set it on top. Um, I put rubber mat along, so it's not sitting on the aviary is not sitting on the stones either. So the aviary is sitting on that rubber matting, and then I throw rubber matting on top of it until they chew through that down to start to get towards the bottom, and then I buy more and toss it in. I've only had to do that a couple of times though. And then the manzanita I got from there's a place up in not too far from here, about 2 hours drive. It carries the manzanita, and they have everything from full manzanita trees. Of course, they don't have anything on them except the branches, but they have. And then they have, like, I bought the 48-inch ones, and that's what I put in here. And then I zip tied corn stalk or corn husks onto it. I found out though that they do better if you don't color them. If you color them, they tend to not last as long, and they lose a little of their flexibility. They're not as much fun to play with. So I'm not coloring them anymore, and they seem to like it anyway. Oh, good. Steal the idea. That's it's 6.5 foot tall. So if I didn't have some way to do that, and I knew I was going to have to throw a rope over, and that all comes from years ago being in the Navy. I working with ropes back then. So and then I was a truck driver for a while too in my 20s. So you had to use ropes a lot and toss them along. So it's an easy way to do it. Yeah. So if you get an aviary like this, they don't recommend putting it outside, but if you throw a tarp over it and keep it tarped when the birds aren't in it, it'll be fine. Don't let it get in the rain and start rusting or anything. I mean, because what's going to rust is going to be the screws. And I don't even see much rust in them at all. Ones on the bottom have a little rust in the hex hole. What? What? Jazz bird, jazz bird. Um, it's that green thing. And it's not up right now because we're in here. So it's that green thing that's lying by the side of the aviary, and it has ropes attached onto it. So I can just toss the ropes over and pull it over at night. And once we get out of here, and if in the summer when it starts, there's too much sun. When the sun's beating down pretty hard, I just throw a blanket over the top, and they have fun with that. They can chew the blankets too, so they have fun doing that. And I attach those using those clips you use to those big binder clips for paper. That's what I use, and just clip them on. Don't even use ropes for that, except for this one over here it's hanging on the side. Oh, it's not. Yeah, it fell off. I usually have that roped up there. I took it down. I had it roped up there so that if we're in here and we have a sudden rain in the winter, it's not really rain, right? It's more like drizzle in California. Rain would frighten us. But if it starts drizzling, I could throw that over so I wouldn't have to sit here and get wet. Because everybody in here knows what I think of rain. The second it starts to rain, I go, I'm melting. I hate it when I can't see through my glasses. So. You can put them under a canopy, but they still can get rain on them. Unless it's completely sealed around, they can still get the weather. And at night, when there's more moisture, you don't want that moisture to get into it. So I think it's better to just throw a tarp over them at night. But now a canopy is good for during the day. If you've got something like it's hot, summer hot, and you want to put a canopy over it, that makes sense. But they need to get light too. So it's good for them to sit in the sun if it's not too hot. If it gets too hot, they'll just wander into the shade over here. I have a big umbrella over this side so they can stay out of the sun. Oh, you're just so upset. What am I doing? Am I holding a jasmine? I am. That makes. Oh, I know. I'm just evil, aren't I? I'm not supposed to be holding a jasmine. Yeah, it depends where you live, whether you can take them out, Tammy. If you live in a colder climate, probably want to avoid a canopy. Maybe a windbreak would be better than a canopy. You guys don't get into any kind of altercation here. You sit back over here. You can't tell people, you can't tell the other birds not to sit on my lap, okay? That's what she's trying to do. Only I get to sit here. No. And you're starting to vibrate. Let's not do that. Yeah, but she's got the best sound to make people feel sympathy. That's a long time ago, I was on YouTube live like this, and somebody's like, that poor bird. And I'm thinking, oh boy, wouldn't Sugar have them wrapped around her little feet? Wouldn't you? Mm-hmm. You'd be chewing on their thumb, wouldn't you? Yes, you would. Yeah, she's jealous, all right. I'm actually mated to three birds. Sugar and Peaches and Babaloo. All birds that somebody didn't, well, this one somebody wanted, but they just got a little too old to take care of her. And, they did the best they could. But yes, she picked it up from somewhere, a crying puppy or a baby or whatever, but they use whatever sound works for them. Like I was saying yesterday about Murray. Murray made a sound, and I reacted like, "Oh, that must mean Murray." Murray was an African gray, but that must mean she wants a treat. Well, after that, whenever she wanted a treat, I heard that was the sound for treat. So it's part of developing a language with you too. They, they'll develop a language with you. Everyone here has a different language with me. So you could say I speak, 12 languages, or 13 if you count English. And some of it is just the way they're sitting there looking at you. Jasmine Cook. Yes, she does. Peaches does sign language with her feet. My favorite one, which no one yet has seen here ever, other than me, is where she puts her foot out like she wants you to put your finger in it. And as soon as your finger gets close, she goes. She does the Fonz move. I don't know who taught her that. She might have figured it out on her own, but what do you do? That's my finger you're chewing on. That's my finger you're chewing on. So jealous. Yeah, they're all ones I had to do a lot of extra work with. And that's the thing, when you have to spend a lot of extra time with a bird. With Bob, I had to spend time with him because he had the most negative self-worth you could imagine. If you even sounded like you were saying something to him that where you were saying he was not a good bird, he'd start saying bad bird, and then he'd start with the uh, what's that phrase? Make it stop. Make it stop. So somebody who was around him hated him when he made loud sounds, so they taught him to say make it stop. Yeah, with Peaches, there's absolutely no choice with Peach. Yeah, she can't reach anything. She can't preen herself. In fact, she did have two impacted feathers that had to be surgically. The follicles had to be surgically removed. So sure sounds like you're bonded, Karen. You guys. Sal's preening now. Lucy's. She's starting to get that look. Pretty soon she'll be coming over and saying, "Pretty bird, pretty bird." It's their way of saying it's time for us to go. They were getting a good 3 hours. Now they get an hour and a half because I have to bring the boys out. So, but it's a little early for their medicine yet. Yeah, the click sound is not something you want because if you train an African gray to make the click sound, you won't be able to train any other bird anywhere near them because they'll start making the clicker sound. It's like that African gray I knew that used to call the dog over, and then the dog when the dog came in the room looking for it because it could perfectly imitate the dog's master. So the dog would come in and start looking around, and the bird would go. Dog would wander off. 10 minutes later, Jada, Jada. Yeah, just whoa. As far as for using bridges, the best bridges are just good. Actually, most people know, well, the ones that understand the idea of bridging, which is just if you can't get the reward there fast enough, you use a bridge, which also is a secondary reinforcer, becomes a secondary reinforcer. So when they've done something right, you use the bridge sound, and then you get them the reinforcement as fast as you can. So mine are good. That's the intermediate. I say good. That means they're going to get a reward, but it's not coming now. It'll come a little later. And good, good. When they finally do what I want them to do, I say good. Right? I really you just yeah. I know you look at me, cause like, what did I do? Why did I hear that? But so those are the two. And then there's another one for when I'm doing things like nails, which is just hold, 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 and just telling them to maintain the behavior they're doing right now. So it's hold. I do a nail. I say good. Hold. Do a nail. Say good. Hold. Do a nail. When I'm all done, I say good. They know they're done, and they get a treat. Some of them want something to eat. Some want to be petted. Right? Peaches? Yeah, she did. So we're probably going to be doing these Mondays and Wednesdays normally. I think we'll be doing one tomorrow, and then it'll be Mondays and Wednesdays every week. That's what we're shooting for. Around this time, same time, it may vary. If it's not so hot that we can't go out later in the day, it may come out. We might do it later. It's better out here, so. Snowball's reward is not having a shower. You know, he doesn't really. He just wants to be talked to. So if you just kind of hold him and talk to him, that's what he wants. So when you get done, you pick him up and go, "Oh, Snowball, what a cute Snowball!" And you just talk to him like that. His eyes get real big, and he's all happy. If you offer him food when you're in as a reward, he doesn't. He won't take it right away. Pretty rare that he'll do that. The one who hates the showers the most is Lorelei, though. God, she sees a water bottle and she wants to run away. She'll take her own showers when she wants, but you guys, you guys. Well, folks, I think we're going to do this again tomorrow, and then we'll see you next week. So we're going to pack her up, and we'll spend a little more time in here with them, just talking to them and playing with them. And then we're going to bring in the boys, and Thank you so much for stopping by. Appreciate it very much. Appreciate it much. Says avoid very again. Eleanor's going to get me for that. Oh, thanks. Thank you, Amy and Maria. Appreciate it. And Eleanor, thank you for being here. Lois and Susie Q and Karen, Tammy, Helen. Yeah, I finally figured out how to read them. Gina. I finally figured out that I needed to put a second phone out here. So Eric stepped in for a minute. That was nice. I hope I got everybody. Well, thanks again. And if you haven't signed up to be a member, you just have to hit the join button. It'll tell you what the options are. So thanks for being here, though. And we'll see you next time.